young writers are very important because they make us interested in doing something that's creative, but it's also fun.
The Hong Kong Young Writers Awards is back again. You're all welcomed to showcase your talents and creativity in different genres, like fiction, non-fiction, poetry, and also cover art. You may also have a chance to get your work published in both the online and printed anthology, and receive special prizes provided by Faber-Castell and the Bookazine gift bags. Getting curious about this year's theme? The theme for 2014 is New Tales of the Gobi Desert. Never been to the Gobi Desert before? Not sure what to write? No worries. Last year's winner Sharon and Ethan share their experience in building up their stories. Let's hear what they say.
When you write, you have to choose something you're passionate about, and only that way you can enjoy your work. You should also add a twist in the writing to captivate the reader. And finally, you should research about your setting to make it credible.
Something about research. Research isn't just about internet. It's also about books and lectures, documentaries, and anything that you can get your hands on, like ideas and information. So I'd say don't limit yourself to Wikipedia or Google or Yahoo, and just explore, because the world is limitless and it's ours to take.
After hearing from last year's winners, are you ready to start your own piece? But don't forget the following judging criteria. The first would be the originality. Everyone should create their own and unique work. Secondly, your verbal skills. Pay attention to your word choice in your writing. Then is your technical accuracy, including grammar, spelling, and punctuation. After that is your imagination. Flex your creative muscles and come up with some interesting and vivid ideas. Finally, the intangible magic. Create a piece to engage audience interests. Apart from the above criteria, the chairman of the judges, Nuri Fitachi, also mentioned some extra elements that made last year's winning piece stand out.
In a story, usually things happen, but what about the metaphorical level? In that story, we found things were happening, but there was also an understanding that things can represent other things. Maybe the rock that John finds represents something in his heart that he's been looking for. Maybe the place they go to represents an inner journey. The other thing we found with the winning entries last year was the knowledge that character is important. Very few stories were focused on people and how they grow and how they think and how they transformed by events.
So, now you're getting more ideas, aren't you? How about getting some more tips from last year's judges?
Prose, you're going to write a factual piece, and you're going to have to do some research and decide what it is about the Gobi Desert you're interested in. Is it its history? Is it the environmental issues? Is it the human population who lives there? What is it? Or is it a combination of those? And then think about the key messages that you're going to convey and the angle that you're going to take and what you want to inform your reader about.
Here are some more tips from Mr. Justin Hill.
One is called telling and one is called showing. Telling is kind of your, once upon a time there was a beautiful princess who lived in a castle. And showing is a much more dramatic and much more interesting way of showing what's happening in the story. And you kind of think of like a camera film that shows what the characters are doing in the story and leaves the reader to kind of intuit what the characters are thinking. So, you take that beautiful princess and you describe how she speaks, describe her movements. Describe it almost like you'd see a character in a film. The important things in the story should be shown.
To generate more ideas or to give more credibility to your writing, you can refer to the following resources found on the Writing Room webpage on the Hong Kong Young Writers Awards website. For example, Walking the Gobi, a 1,600-mile trek across a desert of hope and despair. Or Lemma of the Gobi, how Mongolia's mystic monks spread Tibetan Buddhism in the world's harshest desert. Mr. Rob Lilwar, author of Walking Home from Mongolia, shared his adventurous journey that started in the Gobi Desert.
Yeah, the Gobi Desert, I remember our first proper view of it. We started from the town of Sainshand, which is surrounded by a ridge, and I remember the day we set off, it was in the morning, it was quite cold, it was about -10 in mid-November, and we walked up to the edge of this ridge, and then before us, just this desert rolled out, just completely, forever basically, it was the end of the world you could see, wow. Completely empty. And in the distance, just on the horizon, there was a ridge of mountains, quite small mountains, on the horizon. So it's not completely flat. I think sometimes people just think deserts are sandy and flat, but it wasn't sandy really. It was kind of gritty, lots of little rocks and grit and gravel. I think there are parts of the Gobi which are very sandy, but most of it's this gritty brown gravel material.
You can find more photos and details about his fascinating book from the following websites. NTK Academic Group is providing 3 sets of tutorial videos for each of the written categories. They are also offering free workshops at their centers. Check out their videos and details of their workshops under the NTK Resources section on the HKYWA website. After all these tips and ideas, I'm sure you're inspired to create your own work. Don't forget we have 4 genres that you can submit entries to: fiction, non-fiction, poetry, and cover art. Visit the following website or check with your teacher about the word limits. The deadline for entries is the 31st of January 2014. It's your turn now. Get prepared and create your own winning piece. For more information, you may visit our website or Facebook page. For any book inquiries, please feel free to contact Bookazine at inquiries@bookazine.com.hk.